Hi everyone. In this video tutorial, I want to walk through how you can computationally reproduce our manuscript titled Language Without Borders, a step-by-step guide to analyze the webcam eye tracking data for L2 research. What I have pictured on the screen is our GitHub repository titled L2_VWP_webcam. On this repository, there is an extensive README file with written instructions on how you can computationally reproduce this manuscript, as well as information about all of the data contained on this repo. In order to get started with this, at the bare minimum, you're going to need Nix, which is a language and also kind of an ecosystem. It's a package manager, and also it manages software dependencies as well to create a stable environment. And without Nix, we wouldn't be able to computationally reproduce this manuscript. There is detailed instructions on the README by clicking on Setup Guide, and it will tell you how to walk through the installation for Nix on Windows and Linux and also Mac as well. So you will definitely need that. If you're not going to be computationally reproducing the manuscript within kind of the Nix shell, you're definitely going to need Git on your computer. You're also going to need Cordo. You're not going to need APA Cordo because that is contained in the repo, but if you're going to start anew, you'll need APA Cordo. So at the bare minimum, you'll need Nix. You'll also need an IDE, so whatever your favorite IDE is. So it could be RStudio, it could be Positron, or VS Code, what have you. So let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to clone this repo in RStudio. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on this code button here, and we're going to copy the SSH URL here. And then we're going to open up RStudio. So I'm going to open up RStudio, and then I'm going to switch the windows so I can show you what I'm doing. All right, so I have RStudio open here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a new project. I'm going to click on New Project. I'm not going to save that. Going to go to version control, Git. I'm going to copy the SSH URL that we copied from GitHub. And I'm going to call this manuscript Rix Nix. And it's going to create the project, and it's going to take a bit to create. All right, so our project is now open, and all of the files that were contained on GitHub are now in our project folder on our computer. So before we go ahead and get started, I'm going to show you how you can use Nix and Rix to computationally reproduce this manuscript. We need to make a small change. We need to make a change to the default.nix file that is located in our repository here. Because it hasn't been updated yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically open up this create_dev_env.r file. And we're going to run this function called Rix. And this contains all of our R packages that we need to reproduce the environment, also the system level packages, as well as some Git packages, and also some text packages. We're going to be creating a PDF that requires LaTeX, and these are all the tech packages that we need to reproduce our manuscript here. So I'm just going to copy this, and this is in the repo already. But there is a particular system level dependency that I'm not using anymore. That's not included on this system that I don't want. So I'm calling this Rix function will basically automatically create this default Nix file here. And we need this default.nix file here so we can build our environment. And we're going to build our environment in the terminal in RStudio. You can open up a terminal on your system if you're using Linux or Mac. I prefer just to call the terminal within RStudio. And we're going to call a function called nix build, or a command, excuse me, not a function, nix build, and this is going to build our environment. And this could take a long time to build, depending on what type of packages and system dependencies you have included in your environment. So just clicking on enter, that's going to unpack, and this is going to take quite a while. So I'm going to stop recording and I will, oh, wait. So it has already unpacked. It's probably because I've already built this before. So that was fairly quickly. If this is a new build, it probably could take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to build. Once we've built the environment, next we call nix shell. So we call the command nix shell, and that is going to open up a shell. And this is where the magic happens. Here we can call R, and we can also render the manuscript within this shell. And this shell will have all of our packages and system level dependencies that we need to reproduce this manuscript. So as an example, let's just call R. R is already included in the shell, so we can do things like use it as a calculator, etc. I'm going to quit that. All right, so what we can do is we can actually recreate the manuscript that's in our repo within this Nix shell. And what we're going to do is call cordo render. Was a little too fast there, cordo render, and we're going to input the path to our file. So underscore manuscript, I forgot the exact name of it, underscore manuscript, so it's L2 WB BWP webcam et.qmd. So now when we call this, it is going to render our document within the shell, all within our R project. This is going to create two files. It's going to create a Word document, and it's going to create a PDF document created through LaTeX. So we can see that now it's rendering the PDF. It's already rendered the Word document here. All right, so this is now complete. And if we look or we navigate into our project folder in manuscripts, we see that there's two updated files. One is the Word document. And if we open this, it should open up a Word document, as we can see here. I don't have Word, so I have Pages, but an APA formatted document. And then we can also look at the PDF as well. So we'll click on PDF, and then we have a nicely formatted PDF. And all we did was we called two commands. We called nix build, which builds the environment, and then nix shell, which allows us to run the functions and the packages within an R environment. So this is how we can automatically computationally reproduce the manuscript, but we can also just go through the manuscript and run the code chunks. And to do that, we're going to call an IDE. If you're using a Mac, you cannot use RStudio, but we can use things like Positron. So here I can call Positron, and this is going to open up Positron. Let me stop sharing and then share the Positron screen. So we have Positron open now. By calling it, it opens automatically. And what I want folks to notice is that it's opening an R session with R version 4.4.2. If you noticed in RStudio, the R version that we were using there was 4.4.0. So when I built the Rix environment, I stated that I wanted the latest version associated with a particular date. So I used the date of January 15th, 2025. And at that point in time, 4.4.2 is the latest version. So that's what version I'm going to use. Again, this is very important for computational reproducibility. So we see here that 4.4.2 is the R version that's used. And you can use different R versions if you'd like, regardless if you have it on your actual system or not. So let's go ahead and just open our folder. Let's just open this document here. So this is the manuscript in the document. And what we can do is we can start going through all the code chunks here. So here I'm just recreating one of the tables, right? And I didn't download any packages on Positron. And I'm able to just kind of go through each code chunk and run it, which is very cool here. I'm going to stop sharing and go back to GitHub here. So in this tutorial, what I wanted to show you was how to computationally reproduce our manuscript. And this is all parts of the manuscript. So the analysis pipeline, the figures, and the actual text here, and how you can do this with Nix and Rix. So I'm hoping that this will help you reproduce our manuscript. But what I'm really hoping for is that you take the information learned herein and you apply it to your own projects. So your projects can also be computationally reproducible. Now, if you have any questions about this video or things in general, you can send me an email, or you can even open up an issue. And I also want to take a moment to shout out Bruno Rodriguez, who has been immensely helpful in setting up this repository with Nix and Rix. He has helped a great deal. If you have any issues with Nix or Rix, please open up an issue on the Rix GitHub, and he will hopefully be more than willing to help you with any issues that you may have. Nix and Rix are great, and I hope to use this a lot more in the future. Hopefully I have convinced you that it's fairly simple to use, at least to download or clone a repo and reproduce some analyses here. Thanks for watching.